Well, my name is Terry Allebaugh, and I'm the founder-director of Housing for New Hope. We started in 1992, and so we're now in our 17th year of operation. From my experiences, I learned a lot about homeless people, their challenges, their gifts, their resilience, their dreams, their hopes, and saw that even though the shelter was and is a good thing, an important thing to have in a community like Durham, it only could meet a certain amount of the needs that folks had. And specifically, we would help people get out of the shelter and maybe get a room or maybe get a job or get into a recovery program, and they would move out, and sometimes it'd be as little as a week later, sometimes a month later, lots of times 6 months later, they would cycle right back into the shelter. And what I discovered is that there were a number of homeless people who were really chronically homeless. They might be in a house for a little while, but then they might be in jail, and then over here they might be committed to a mental health institution, they might be hospitalized, they might stay on a couch for a while, they might stay in a camp, and then they're back at the shelter. And their lives were just running this circuit. And I felt like we needed something else in Durham to help folks make that transition from homelessness, which is a survival kind of lifestyle, getting through the day, to a more dignified living in the community. With that kind of charge, I worked with the Durham Presbyterian Council to form Housing for New Hope. And our first project opened in January of 1992. And so we aligned ourselves with 12-step recovery programs, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, and that became integrated into what we were doing. And began that program, and it was a structured program, so instead of just one piece, say a person getting a job, we began to work with the men to look at their education, at their employment status to improve it, sometimes obtaining vocational training. Once they had money coming in, some workshops in budgeting and managing that money, doing credit reports, paying back credit, challenging the men and going with them to court to start paying child support, because our motto there at the house was and still is freedom through responsibility, that freedom comes as you take responsibility for your life, but none of us can do that alone. You need support to do it, and that's what we have been there to do. We stressed community service projects because everyone needs to give back, and including those who are poor and have little. There's a human need to help others, and unless that's expressed, we feel smaller and we don't feel as valued. So from the very beginning, the Phoenix men have been involved with things like walking in the crop walk, those who are able to every year, going back to the shelter and preparing and serving a meal once a month, being a part of neighborhood improvement activities. So that's been our philosophy, and that was some of the things that shaped us starting Housing for New Hope. If we can develop a system in Durham where nobody is homeless more than 45 days, we will effectively end homelessness, because no matter what we do, people are going to continue to be homeless. There are going to be crises in their life. There's going to be natural disasters that happen. There's going to be things but there are sufficient resources in the public and private sector, if they can be organized and targeted, so that someone doesn't have to remain in that situation. So for us, the long-term vision of how we participate in that plan is to develop and further expand the capacity to help prevent homelessness, because the best way to end homelessness is to help folks never get there to begin with, or if they do become homeless, have sufficient affordable housing, access to services, the things that people need in order to obtain and maintain permanent housing.